La da da, la da da, la da da, ba 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 da. Hey, how are we doing? Today I'm going with washed up UK pop star look. It's like, hey, this is, I don't know, what's, hey, this is, I can't do, I'm too tired to do an English one. I'm too tired. That's why I look all washed up, is because I'm tired. I haven't slept in a while. How are my eyebrows? How's it looking? Go live. I pressed go live. Already. Sorry, so we're trying to get everything to work. So, hey, Dad, how you doing? Okay. So, there it says we're live, which is cool. And so, I'm going to go over here. You can't see what I'm doing. Then we click here. Then we go to group. Now, then we can just, like, go straight down to that group. And then we can see everything. And then it looks like Emily's here. Hey, Emily! Hey, what's going on, babe? What's going on, babe? You know, I'm kind of thinking that the lighting might make my hair look cool. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. Hello! Hello! I'm really tired today. So we'll see how today's show goes. How do you describe things? I've been away for a little while, so that's where we'll start. I've been away because it's the spring, and I have the ability to get some stuff ready. Oh, hey, look at Cole Jenkins. Hey, Cole Jenkins. And I have the ability to turn off closed captions on Facebook because it's really distracting. You're not doing crap today, but watching, watering my garden and watching Le Bay. I should message you, but I should message you. I'm totally going to message you. I'll message you right now. And see if I can also do my show at the same time. So anyways, I'm pretty tired because, so I live in the Pacific Northwest. Cole can attest to this. And, excuse me. Damn, look at that dude's do. Hey, ladies. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank to both of you ladies. So I live in the Pacific Northwest. It's wet and it's dark all the time. And so I saw the sun break out. We had one nice weekend, and then I was like, oh my God, I need to get the garden ready. The sun's here. And then the sun went away for another month. And so I've been using this time of oh my God, I can go outside and get some stuff done. It's a wet life in the PNW. We should actually have like a rap song about it where we pull out, like, I would say our umbrellas, because that's really what the, like, you know, the art calls for, but it doesn't fit for like the Pacific Northwest, so we'd have to like pull out our like rain slicks, LL Bean, because you're pulling it over your like massively large arm, and then like, you know, a side profile from right here where you have like the beer hat, like the gray felt, like not felt, what am I looking for? It's like it's a sport coat fabric. Anyways, like that type of like hat, it's going to be gray and maybe it has like some white on the brim, and then like some dude's big beard and he's a redhead and he's clearly husky, and then there's a mountain in the background, something like that. PNW gets wet and the PNW makes Jacob all wet. It does. I go out in my sodden land. Which I went out this morning. We have I think 11 lilies sprouting right now. We've got like 20 more in the ground. Anyways, well, I appreciate seeing you two today. So I have limited time to be able to get all this stuff done. And also, like, the raspberries are going. You can ask Cole about the raspberries. They're gigantic. They're huge. Dude, that nitrogen I put on them, it worked. They're even bigger. I'm going to not put any more nitrogen on it. I put some crushed eggshells, and I'm going to make like a bone meal out of some chicken bones, because that's what we do now, because we're going total organic hippie farmer. Maybe that's my channel. It's the Organic Hippie Farmer conservative channel to celebrate the end of the Republic. I don't know. So where were we, kids? My sodden mess. The raspberries. What about the raspberries? Cole, what was I? Oh, so I have to weed in the raspberries. And so I have all these buttercups, which buttercups have like the root system's kind of like this. And then raspberries have a root system that's kind of like this. It's like a networked root. And so what happens is like this will get around this and just kill everything. So like we're trying to get rid of the buttercups, but it's the worst root system ever. Like it's a horrendous freaking plant to deal with. And I'm also like taking care of my kids. So like we had some company last weekend. Even Cole was part of that company and his lovely wife. And then Kath and her lovely guy. What'd you think about him? Cole in the chat, what'd you think about our friend Jeremiah? I have my thoughts. I just wanted to get your perspective. Is the light better? Is that better lighting? Emily, is the light better? Coming better from here? It's actually brighter from here right now. That's crazy. Actually, that's because of all my little grow lights. I have all kinds of little plants going. Dude, he was a cool dude. He was a really cool dude. I'm glad he's part of the posse now. Our family gained a new dangerous member, everybody. The light is giving me a good glow. Good to go. Good to know. Thanks, babe. So the sodden mess of like I need to get the flag. Anyways, so that's why I haven't done a show. Oh, wait. So we had company, and then I wanted to clean up the house before the company got here. So I got like a carpet cleaner and to like clean the whole house. So I moved things so I could clean the carpet and like did all the clean. And then like Payday, our big dog, decided to just crap everywhere. He's like, ah! But it wasn't like he just went, he went, ah! And so he was running while he had the diarrhea in the house. And so like there's just these big long trail, like I'm talking about like a 12-foot run of diarrhea that I had to clean up each time. He did it 4 or 5 times. Ruby, our other dog, ate a bunch of grass. So I like remember how I told you I hit them raspberries with some of that nitrogen. So I got the nitrogen from the grass. So I mowed the lawn, and I went to go get a bunch of. I took all the lawn clippings and I put them to the side so they dried a little bit, and then I sprinkled them around the bases of the raspberries and the blueberries and like the strawberries. I actually didn't get any. I gave them a little bit, but not really. And some other. It doesn't matter. Anyways, and so I did that. Cool. So Ruby decided to go find the pile of grass and yum, 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 yum. So she ate it, yum, 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 and then she lodged it. And like, if you know a dog's digestive tract, like they ain't digesting a bunch of grass. Like dogs and us, we ain't cows. And so it just got lodged to the side. And so while I was also mowing lawn and taking care of the lawn and everything, I was like, you know what would be a great habit? Why wouldn't I just use the pooper scooper that I got from like a house one time, and then I will clean up the poop and put the poop in a pile. So she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to eat some of that poop with my bloated grass belly. So she went yum, 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 and ate a bunch of poop. And so what she had was 2 balls in her stomach shaped together like a yin-yang, Cole, and then she puked them both out. It was a plug of like sodden, broken down, mossy, bog-like grass and a turd. But the turd was like marbled and shaped, and it was all pressed together. So then she puked that on the floor, then started eating it. And then next to it were 2 other spots on the floor where somebody had clearly eaten poop and then puked it on the floor and ate it during the night. So I had to clean up that too. That's why I decided to get a 24-hour rental on the carpet cleaner, because I wasn't exactly sure like what was going to happen. So anyways, I cleaned that. And so after that, then we had company. And then after that, it's like, oh, guess what? We're moving your kid's school. Here's your kid. And so I'm like, wait, what? Here's my kid. Oh. Hey, kiddo. How you doing? Da, 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 da. And so I ended up taking care of the kid for a week. But this was after like being tired from dealing with shit all week and everything else, and like working in the garden, and then we had company, and then like immediately rolls into a kid. So I'm the kid didn't sleep all week, so every single night, like she just and then I go down there. I'm like, oh, it's 3:00. That's so awesome. You like found my perfect time for when I won't go back to sleep. So with all that out of the way, I also had my heart broken this week. We're going to talk about that later in the show. I'm a little off the chain, Cole. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. Y'all need to refloor that area in vinyl, then you could just hose it down with a hose and to drain. Yeah, something like that, Cole. Something like that. When payday goes, we're gonna rip out the carpet and do a bunch of stuff. Like if we didn't, like, we're only gonna have Ruby-sized dogs and smaller from now on, and we're only gonna have 2 of them. Really, what I want to get is, like, what are those dogs? They're called coyote killers. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, I want to get a couple of those, and that'd be perfect. Like, yeah, come around to our house and mess around. That's a mean 45-pound dog. So, kids, what do we want to talk about today? I'm going to start with a text message to myself and just go down to the list. Down the list. Bay is about to be. Good thing. Oh, Grandpa's going to be here in 2 weeks. Hey, Grandpa. Cool. Should I start with my garden or should I start with my thing? I'm going to start with my garden. I want to talk about my garden. So I have, and it's getting weird over here. So to my right, I have 4 buckets of mycelium starter. So I went in my yard. Oh, here, we'll take a look at this. We're going to do some ecological lessons with Jacob. Let me see if I can find. Oh, I also I got a friction burn on my fingertip, so I can't use my mouse or type well. So you're just gonna have to bear with me. Actually, well, no, I'm not gonna start with gratitude because, man, there was something I was really grateful for, and we don't need to go down that road. We're good. We got the good energy going. Mycelium. Where are you at, mouse? So, gonna go here. And so that's mycelium. Like a real nice, happy network of it. Like those are going, that's not what I have. What I have is a little bit more like, no, it's not that either, on a log. How about mycelium log? I have a bunch of this. So, what I did is I went in my yard and I found some of this growing in the hydrangeas. Let's do some more flowers. We're going to learn about plants today. Hydrangeas. These mother truckers. Again, I'm going to warn you, I'm real tired today, so if I start swearing Dad, I'll just be like, Dad, I'm going to just swear the rest of the day, but I'm going to be pretty good about not doing it. Anyways, so we have some of these in front of our house, like on the side walkway on the north side. They are gigantic. We have gigantic hydrangeas. Cole can also talk about those. Anyway, so in there, I found some of this stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cultivate it, because what this stuff does, and Cole can correct me if I'm wrong, is let's just picture a plant for a minute. Man, I wish I could connect to the iPad right now. That would have been awesome. That's why I got the iPad. Anyways, Jesus. If you could just picture this for a second, we'll go back to Jacob's face. So picture a plant in your head. Boom, there's the green plant. And if you can get like a little, MS, the slideshow MS thing, is it Outlook? It's not Outlook. What's the other one? The slideshow, PowerPoint. So if you just picture like a cheesy Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, that will make this the easiest possible. Picture a green plant. Picture the green plant, and there's like the earth, the parallel, like the horizontal surface of the earth, and then there's the roots going down, and then there's the soil. Well, there's nutrients in the soil, and then there's roots getting into the soil. But the thing is that the roots cannot get access to every single nutrient that's in the soil because roots can only do so much. So enter mycelia, which is this stuff. So this stuff is a living organism that is not a plant. It's like a fungi. I think it's a fungi. I think it's part of the family. It's just mushrooms are weird. Anyways, so what this stuff does is the mycelia exists mostly underground or on the top surface in dark, damp areas. Okay, it needs to be dark and damp. Now, mycelia does not produce any oxygen, and there's other nutrients that mycelia cannot get that roots, like the plants, can discharge. So hear me out here. The roots are in the ground, and the roots are like, man, I would love to eat some sugar or carbohydrates right now. I could really use a jolt of some of that energy, but I can't because I'm a plant. And then mycelia is like, hey, hey, you got some of that nitrogen, or you got some of that, like, I don't know, chlorophyll? Hey, you got some of that chlorophyll lying around? Because here's the deal. You give me some of that chlorophyll, I'm going to give you some of this sugar. And then the plant's like, whoa, son of a bitch, I can get some sugar? That's great. Yum, yum, yum. And so what happens is the mycelia acts as like we'll just say another digestive tract for a plant, or something like that. There's something like that. But what it can also do is it forms a network. So let's just say you have your plant, and instead of like wanting to hit your plant with a bunch of, liquid nutrients, and I'm going to oversimplify plants real quick. We have the growth phase. We've got we'll just say the growth phase, which green, and the plant gets big, and that's when you hit it with the nitrogen. And then you have the bloom or flowering phase, which is like, that's where you get the big flowers that eventually turn into the fruit. To make a plant big, you need that nitrogen. To make it grow the big flowers or the big fruit, you're going to need that phosphorus, magnesium, and maybe some calcium and some other stuff. So you could just try to time it whenever the plant's like, oh, the plant's giving flowers, I better go ahead and dump some of this stuff on there, blah, 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 blah. Or you could just go ahead and put it in the soil. Now, the thing is so you could just throw some like sticks and bark and maybe some like, bat guano and maybe some eggshells and maybe some like oyster shells or whatever crap. Now, the thing is like when stuff's breaking down, that's not exactly good for the roots. Like it's a bit taut and toxic. The mycelia loves to break it down. So mycelia breaks down organic material. It also forms a relationship with the roots. So let's just say the plant reaches a new phase where it needs some stuff, and it's like, hey, man, I would love to get my hands on some magnesium right now. But my roots don't sense anything. The mycelia is like, hey, you got any more of that chlorophyll lying around? Because I got all the magnesium you need. I even got some phosphorus over here. Tell your roots to come over this way, buddy. And then the roots will go to it. Just start growing in that direction. The mycelia start moving the nutrients in that direction. So basically that the plants are going to be able to get the nutrients when they need to as a relationship of this stuff. So my thesis is to get a bunch of this stuff going and then put it in all the plants that we're growing. So like in the raspberries, in the blueberries, in the dahlias, in the well, it's a bit late for everything else. I'll sprinkle it as much as I can to try and get some stuff going, but it'll only be on the surface because almost everything's planted. But it'll be going in some of the dahlias. It'll be going in the zucchini, the cantaloupe, the tomatoes, a whole bunch of other crap. All this has a reason for this. To my right, I have 4 buckets of this stuff. Like I found 2 logs in my yard that I had abandoned a long time ago when we had a birthday for Jessica. That was like 2018. 2018, we had a bonfire in my backyard. And then there were only like these 2 little stumpy logs left, so I went ahead and I threw them in the corner where there was basically just kind of a trash pile over there. Like I just pulled a bunch of concrete out of there. We didn't put the concrete there. And so anyway, so I'm cleaning out that area right now. I'm like, holy crap, there's a couple of logs. So there was like the mycelia that was near the hydrangeas. What I did is I took that stuff and I layered it with a bunch of cardboard. So it's like mycelia stuff, cardboard, soaked, boiled, baked cardboard. And then I got a bucket of it. And then with the next ones, I was like, oh my God, these are just logs. So I took the logs and I stuck the log in with a bunch of like reeds and stuff, as well as, not compost, the stuff that you sprinkle on top, the chopped woody surface mulch, like a bunch of soaked and boiled mulch. And then as well as some leaves, and then some more like reedy stuff like raspberries, and there was one other plant, actually more hydrangea stuff that actually had some mycelia in there. And now it's just baking in the corner of my room, like it's just covered in a blanket. And then behind you guys is 2 domes that I have approximately 100 sprouts going. And those are things like chives and dill. I have chives and dill going, as well as a bunch of different kinds of tomato plants. Some more peppers, like a bunch of hot peppers, like jalapeno peppers. I got some bell peppers in there. I'd have to look at the label to see what all else is going. But I think it's mostly just like a whole bunch of different kinds of tomatoes and peppers. And so, and the herbs. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a garden in the backyard. Yeah, get more of our pictures going. Oh yeah. We'll get back to the mycelia log in a second. So we're gonna do concrete block raised beds. Is that what I'm looking for, Cole? What is it? What are those? Not concrete. There's a specific term I'm looking for. Cinder block raised bed. So we go images. And basically we're going to be doing one of these. Actually, it'll be these. Actually, it won't be those either. It's going to be this. We're going to build this in our backyard. Get it nice and high for you. So the blocks are going to be 2 stacks high, which is enough to keep some of the stuff out of it and make it a little bit less of a pain in the ass. What we're going to do is, so the way that this thing is constructed is you want to put a bunch of cardboard down. So you're putting cardboard on the outside too, to create a barrier, and then you put some mulch or whatever on top of that. Because you want to create a barrier around this because the grass will get into it and other organic stuff, and it's just a big pain in the butt. What I'm going to do, anarchos, is I'm going to put some coffee grounds around there to protect and create a barrier, because bugs don't like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fill up the cores of these, and we're going to put in herbs. So it's going to be like chives, dill, mint, basil, blah blah, cilantro, parsley, blah 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 blah, and dot like every single chunk of this, which I don't think will be too much of a pain in the butt to like get to the plants that are behind it, because if we're growing like tomatoes and stuff, they're gonna be way higher. Anyways, and so that's what's gonna go in there, and that's part of why I have so many herb starts. And then what you do is you put down cardboard, and that keeps stuff from growing in on the bottom. And so we're going to put down 2 layers of cardboard, and then there's going to be a mycelia log right here and a mycelia log right here, and then more sticks and crap. And then I'm going to put a bunch of logs of cherry wood, because we have some cherry wood in the backyard. And then probably some more mulch and stuff and wood. There's going to be a lot of wood, and then layer it with some like leaves and grass and eggshells and just all kinds of compost and crap. But stuff that takes forever to break down. So that would be where we get more of like the clamshells and that kind of crap. And then just put the planting soil on top of it, Emily. And then at the end, oh God, my nose is going crazy. It's like I licked a cat. Ugh. Anyways, what this does is that creates a 15-year garden. Do you know what that means? Thanks for asking. So if you just plant something over and over and over in the ground, it's going to deplete the soil, even if you do some form of like crop rotation. Like to really get plants going, what they want. Bree's here. Hey, Bree! Breeding Bree's in the house? What? We're talking about gardening. Do you want to talk about gardening, Bree? Don't worry, I saved all the political crap for you. I saved it. You're welcome. Where was I going with this, Emily? Oh yeah, but so what I'll have is a network of like wood and mycelia already there. Like this will just be like a food generating machine. Like I expect that what this is going to do is produce gigantic plants. Because this part of our yard also gets a bunch of sun. So yeah, these logs, 2 of those are going to go in here, and it's going to be touching a bunch of wood and sticks and stuff, and it's going to create like a fungus network of breaking down organic material soup. Oh, and I'm also going to put a bunch of earthworms in there and earthworm casings. Probably red wigglers. You want the worms, they help like, what worms do is they help break down the material that's in the soil, so they break down organic material, much like the mycelia does. But it also, they aerate, is that the term that I'm looking for? You know, they loosen up the soil, they make it easier for the roots, they like get air in there and just make like nicer, fluffier soil. You don't want super compact clay like what we have. What I'm really trying to do is make my yard not clay anymore. And I have some ideas on how to do it. And let's just say we have this house for 10 years. I will have the most productive soil on all of Alabama Hill. Because I live on a hill called Alabama Hill. at the base of it. I think that's gardening, Emily. I mean, really, that brings you up to date. I can show you some other stuff that I'm going to do. Like, let's do zucchini. This one's a trip. Zucchini vertically grown in pot. Now, I put this in one of the articles that I did. But this is like a trip of a technique. It's like this, and I want to find a really big one. But as you can see, this is a vining one, as opposed to just like a zucchini bush. And they have like a stake, and what they're doing is they're tying the zucchini to the stake as it grows. And these things can, I mean, it can get 8 feet tall. So let me see, there's another one. Example. There's a good example. That one's pretty big. That one looks like it's probably, that's like 5 feet tall, maybe 4.5. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of those on our terrace along with some more tomato plants. Yeah, there's another example of this. Anyways, so my plan, Bree and Emily is, I guess I'm going to roll into the rest of this show. So I had a prediction. I'm going to talk about Jacob's failed predictions and all of my mistakes. That's part of why I've been like a little bit procrastinating the show, sort of. Got to get that Facebook refreshed because it looks like it crashed. It didn't crash though. It just looks like it crashed. So then I click this and it says turned off. So if you guys remember, there was a time in 2020 and 2021 where we had the Corona Cafe every day, and we talked about all the things that we talked about. And one of the things we talked about was how this was like just screwing the food supply, and just like, hey, there's nobody dealing with the crops, and we're going to have all kinds of problems with the crops, and the food's going to get expensive, and it's going to be bad. So I was concerned about, like, you know, food shortages, which is why I kept on saying, guys, buy a little bit extra, and I still have somewhat of a concern about that, okay? Like, as an example, well, we'll get to my concern about that, but my point is that, like, that was 3 years ago. I have some food from 3 years ago that I still need to eat. We're working our way through the oats and the lentils, and it's a little bit of a chore, but here's one aspect of it where I'm not going to be, like, defending myself, but I'm sort of am. Man, it's a lot cheaper than if I bought it today, am I right? So, like, I knew there was going to be, like, a food shortage, issues with food. I didn't expect that it was just going to, like, I knew there would be inflation, but I wasn't expecting it to be as a result of printing, you know, $3 trillion. Like, I didn't expect this to happen. I expected, like, you know, a calamity in the food supply, or at least some sort of disruption. Because if you remember, we also had riots. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe we'll talk about how they're trying to get riots going again. Which is going okay. It's going okay. It'll probably go way better in 2024. Like, you know, we're loosening them up. We're getting the kids loose. Expect some riots this year, but man, the big fights next year. This is just training. But what I'm saying is I was wrong about the food stuff. So if you went crazy and bought a bunch of food because I told you to, send me the bill. But don't send me the bill. Just go eat the food. So I did get that wrong. Another one was Ray, and I remember this. It was like, I want to say it was around the time of the Travis Scott Fortnite concert. You know, like, I think she asked, will there be concerts again? And I was like, yeah, maybe. But I wasn't 100% sure, and I thought they might, like, roll down in a different way. I didn't expect, like, we're just going to go back to concerts. So I got that one wrong. Now, again, in my defense, you know, COVID is in the environment, and it's, like, mutating still, but I don't think it's going to, you know, Bree's got her smart science friend. Let me know if, like, if there's going to be a breakout variant. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. My guess is that sounded like a little bit Christopher Walken. My guess is that what's going to happen is if it looks like Donald Trump gets elected again, you're going to see a virus. Something like that. I'm a little tired, so please bear with me. But my point is I think it's important to have a garden. That's my point. Actually, here's really my point. I think it's going to be important to have a garden because we're going to need to have gardens again because we're going to need to go back to gardening. Now, will it be like World War III's broken out and we need a victory garden? Maybe. I don't know. To just take some of the pressure off of stuff? Or is it going to be like, because of the climate crisis, blah, 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 but you can get credits by growing your own food. Oh, okay, cool. So then, like, I grow a bunch of my own food, and then it winds up, like, lowering my carbon credits or, like, whatever, like, and so I'm not, like, I'm able to go for a longer drive. That could happen. Because I'm not, like, contributing to climate change by, like, getting potatoes that are from Canada or whatever. They're from my backyard. There's something going about this. There's also just kind of the way that we live our lives. It's completely unsustainable. So, like, I can't speak for if it's going to happen, in my parents' lifetime. It will probably happen in my lifetime, where the consumer capitalist system will be crushed, defeated, and there will be something else to take its place. Which I'm okay with. Like, the consumer capitalist system has given us, like, the obesity epidemic, Walmart, and China. So... Oh, and plastic in the ocean. A whole bunch of plastic in the ocean. So, like, that I'm kind of over with. I could come up with, like, if we could come up with something, like, anyways, where am I getting with this? The way that we're doing things is going to change. So, the way that we produce our food right now is monocropping. I'm not going to pull up a bunch of information on it, but a very long story short, just... picture a place in Kansas, use that holographic thing in your brain that makes pictures of holographic images in your brain. Just picture a bunch of soil. It's getting tilled, which means that they're breaking up the soil. And then what they're doing is as they're tilling it, they're breaking it into rows. And then there'll be some sort of industrial planter that sticks a bunch of like seeds of corn or soybeans or whatever wheat into the ground. And then there's going to be some sort of like thing that comes along and waters all of them and just dumps all of this water. And then what they're going to do is like hit it with some nitrogen and hit it with phosphorus and hit it with magnesium, and where that where that nitrogen comes from, and possibly the others, I don't know, is flared off natural gas. Okay, so it's like we're taking natural gas and we're like refining it to where it's like we're isolating the nitrogen, but it's still nitrogen isolated from a hydrocarbon. Okay, it's not like my lawn clippings. Fair. So then what we're doing is we're taking this hydrocarbon-based nitrogen and dumping it all over these crops and then pouring more water on them. And so what's happening is that like those petrochemical-based fertilizers are getting into the soil and into the groundwater. And I can tell you that worms don't like that stuff a whole bunch, and neither do the bugs and the other stuff. And then they also spray like insecticides and all these other things on top of the plants. And it's been going on for 50 years or longer. Okay, it's been going on for a long, long, long time. We're just sucking water out of the aquifer, but we're also in the middle of a drought. Like, okay, like the West, definitely like the Mountain West, parts of the Midwest, and definitely the West Coast are in a drought. But we're still the breadbasket of America. We're sucking all of this water out of the ground. We're sucking it out of the Colorado. We're sucking the Colorado River and the Rio Grande dry, which are already running dry because of, well, everybody's sucking water out of it, and there's a drought. And so what's going to happen is, like, the Biden administration is already doing some stuff on it, and I'm not going to look into it, where it's basically like, we're going to restrict your access to water out of the Colorado River, and we'll divert some of it to California and the blue states. California is where all the almonds come from, and also a lot of avocados, which require a lot of water, and they're in the middle of a drought, and there you go. So anyways, my point is that, like, our giant industrial food production system is grossly inefficient, and it's dangerous. Like, it's not like if they were to just leave Kansas alone, it's going to come back in a couple of years. Like, if they just left these... Actually, I don't even think that would be enough, Brie. Like, maybe if they left it alone for 10 years, it would come back. Maybe if literally, maybe if they didn't touch it for 10 years, it would come back to some level to where it's like, oh, well, we have farmable soil again. And so what I'm talking about in regards to doing this weird stuff of like, okay, I'm going to get a bunch of my cilia and stick it in a bucket with a bunch of eggshells and clam shells and then put some zucchini in there. and also start the sprouts like 2 months early in my office, is that I think I'll be able to produce a buttload of food. Like, I think with the small footprint house I have, like, I'm going to say medium footprint, just depends on your perspective, but, you know, well, Bree, you haven't been in my house, have you? If Anarchos was here, he could tell you how big my footprint was. It's a medium footprint. I would just say medium. It's enough. It's enough to where I'm like, I could grow a buttload of food. But the point is I can grow a buttload of food. Like, I could just grow tons of food. We're going to have mushroom logs, too. And some mushroom buckets. And just kind of hardening ourselves to whatever shock may come through the system. And so what I'm getting at is I did get some stuff wrong, but I also got some stuff right. And I suspect that there will be additional shocks to the system. And I would suspect that, like, the thing that's going to get you is, like, electricity, food, rent, travel expenses. That's about it. Like, you know, the basic things that you have to spend your money on. So, like, as an example, Emily has her herb garden. That's, like, the best thing to garden if you're in an apartment. That's the best thing to garden, period. Herbs are expensive. And so you could have a little herb garden and save yourself all kinds of money. Bree, you should set up an herb garden in your shower. Go take a shower. What are you doing? I'm just guessing on that, but you should probably go take a shower, Bree. What else are we going to talk about, guys? I'm feeling awake now. Thanks for letting me get all that off my chest. I'm back. I should check my shows. I think the first one was Starship, huh? Yeah, let's talk about Starship. So we're going to go here. So if you didn't see it, Starship launch. Starship launch. Go here. I'll get to that in a second. If I could just show something real quickly. This is what just proved to me why we're going to get to this. God willing, we're going to get to this. But this is why I've just sort of checked out on the news and everything in general. So look at how Elon Musk is holding his hands. He's going like this. Okay? You know what I do when I'm nervous? I do this. Okay? So this is check out Elon's hands at today's Starship launch. I don't care what anybody says. Musk is controlled opposition. So this is all about the Illuminati shit. What the hell? With like 1,850 likes. All those impressions. It's all dumb. My point is just it's all dumb. And everybody's so dumb I just don't care anymore, Emily. That was my point. But let's check out. We're going to watch the launch. Let's watch the launch. And then we're going to talk about it while the launch is launching. Yeah! Show us them titties, Starship! Where are them titties? T-minus 15, 14, 13, 12. This was yesterday, 420. On 420, 2023, Elon Musk got higher than anybody. Bam. Man, that guy knows how to make a joke. Look at how big this thing is. It's effing lit. But no, really, look at the size of that thing. This is such a game changer, Emily. It's 2 rockets. So the rocket wasn't a success because this part was supposed to separate and then this part gets launched deeper into space and then the payload's up in the cone. But it still was a success. It could have just blown up. Nobody knew that this would definitely work. Like, they were gambling sending this the second largest rocket in history into space. Like, the SLS I think is technically bigger. That's what NASA just built. But SpaceX is a private company and did it for a fraction of the cost. And this isn't much longer. I just want to show you something pretty cool. Like, there's a really neat picture or image. You can kind of see it right here, but you can just see all the engines firing on their own. Isn't that crazy? I don't remember. I don't think kerosene is the fuel source. I think like it's like natural gas and oxygen mixed together or something like that, and pressurized. Like the way these rockets basically work is they're just pumped full of as much gas as humanly possible. Kind of like how if you shake up a Pepsi, like if you shake up a soda can and you like puncture it, it goes psst. It's kind of like that, but it's already at that shaken up point. So basically they just open up a valve and set it on fire, and that's kind of it. Which is lit. So the Starship launched. That's awesome. I can't tell you how civilization... Like, you've read a bunch of my space stuff before. Starship's the thing that makes getting to space cheap enough for us to start building all the space infrastructure. That's what we've been waiting for, Emily. That was the moment. Yesterday was the moment. 4/20, 2023. Woo. Not as exciting. Well, I mean, it's cool. It's really cool, but I don't have the energy to be all fired up about it. Let me see. What else do we have in our shows? So BuzzFeed got the whack, which I'm not sad about. My wife was a little sad about because she's like, oh, I was reading some heartfelt stuff on BuzzFeed. And I'm like, well, you know, they did ruin America. So there's that. BuzzFeed shutting down. Shutting down. Okay, that way you can see me here. Then we have to go over here, and then I go here. As Glenn Greenwald says, BuzzFeed News is shutting down. Company laying off 180 staffers. 15% of the staff already laid off. Laid off. I think that's already laid off. I added the already. The remainder will just be tossed under the collapsing brand of the Huffington Post. Multi-pronged disintegration of the digital liberal media. BuzzFeed News is shutting down. Emily says she missed when BuzzFeed was just a bunch of videos that helped comedians grow their career. There was some stuff I liked about BuzzFeed. I miss when pop news was fun before it just turned into rage bait. Like there was clickbait, which I kind of already always accepted, but the rage bait stuff is just ripping everything. It's like ripping Western civilization apart. So suck it, BuzzFeed. I can't remember who had a good one. Let's do Shoe on Head's video of BuzzFeed going down. Shoe. Oh my God, self-care culture and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race, is she right? My boyfriend's cancer battle was ruining my mental health, so I lost him. Now I'm running a marathon in his honor. Way to make it about you. So let's check this out. I'm not sure if you can see all of the...
Ass cancer, we know this, and I'm pretty sure that...
So I'll do my... I might just need to read out the little headlines that she does so everybody can see them. But here we go. This is Shu's tribute to BuzzFeed.
So we all know BuzzFeed is the internet equivalent of ass cancer. We know this, and I'm pretty sure the website is a government experiment created to test my patience. So without further ado, I present to you...
BuzzFeed Nude is being shut down. Peace. Rip Bozo. How privileged are you? Check your list of privilege. White people, read this before you text your black friends. 37 things white people need to stop ruining in 2018. 20 reasons white people can't be trusted. Man sees his girlfriend's period blood for the first time. This artist imagined famous women throughout history on their period. We painted with our period blood.
Membrane streams of blood, kind of like pulling cheese.
Male tears. Cats against feminism. Watch a bunch of little girls curse like sailors to promote feminism. These all-fail male, asexually reproducing crayfish try man-spreading for a week.
My balls. I don't want my balls sticking to my legs.
I don't want that either. Harry Potter, Bernie or Hillary, what? Just photos of some very emotional Bernie Sanders supporters. BuzzFeed's employees vote to unionize after major layoffs. Yeah, it's been 4 months and the union still hasn't been recognized. BuzzFeed steals ideas from YouTubers and more drama, down to the goddamn thumbnail. They're stealing stuff from people. BuzzFeed stole from me. BuzzFeed's stealing from me. 36 questions women have for men. I stopped by one of the biggest haters' funerals today, just make sure that nigga was dead. I was just reading a tweet, YouTube, so don't ban me. So that's what I got for BuzzFeed's Dead News. Thanks, Shu, to remind us why we don't care. I sort of care. It's sort of like it's the end. It's like another end of my innocence, Emily. You know what I mean? It's like, God, I saw this Dostoevsky meme. Let me see if I bookmarked it. Oh, damn, there's that thing that, Jesus. It's a gratitude thing. Basically, it's a little kid in Africa getting water. And, like, the aid workers washing the kid's face. It's just like, Jesus. Instantly grateful. Makes me instantly grateful. Okay, wait. I think I know how to do this, Emily. We're going to go here. And then we go here. And then we go here, 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 here. And then we look for it right there. And then I go here. And there's Dostoevsky. Why they want to cancel the Russians, because they said a bunch of good stuff. Well, the worst sin is that you betrayed yourself for nothing. And I think about this quote actually quite a bit, Emily. It's a big slap in the face, man. An easy example I have for this quote is, look at us hanging out with Mike and Michelle back in the day, and like what we had to, you know, like just sort of like suck up or turn a blind eye to. And what do we get out of it? Nothing. Like, I mean, we got each other, but like, what did that do for our lives? Nothing. What did that do for our mental health? Nothing. Could we still be like more innocent than we are today? Yes, but we're not, because we gave it up for nothing. Welcome to my world of rainbows. Starship BuzzFeed. Okay, now we're sad. Now I get to be sad. Now I can finally get to my sad part of the show. 46 minutes in, and we're going to say that Dan S. is correct. So, Emily, I'm going to have a heart-to-heart with you, and if you can talk and, like, feedback to me, I think Bree's already gone. Bree, if you're still here, you can just shout it out, too. So, like, I'm at a loss with what to do politically. And what I mean by that is, where should I go with this? We got each other in friend trauma. We did get it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So there's this guy, Ali Alexander, who started January 6th. So remember the insurrection, blah, blah. He's the guy who got the ball rolling. The guy was able to cause that giant protest, whatever, with a phone, a Twitter account, and a Rolodex. Okay, that's it. Like, the guy was able to get it done with just that. And as far as a political analyst, he's really good. As like, if you look at his numbers and him calling out races and that kind of stuff, he's as good as it gets. Like, literally, he's as good as it gets. And so that's part of why he started, like, you know, the January 6th Stop the Steal stuff, because he's like, man, Trump should have won. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, all these other seats shouldn't have been won. Like, something clearly happened, and he was right. But that's all that was overshadowed because of the Fedsurrection, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, listening to that guy's he called the last election. He's already called the next election, which essentially is if the GOP doesn't fix what's going on in the courts, they have no chance of winning the election. Because the Democrats have already created a system in which that they are guaranteed to win, which is why they're not even trying to win. Like, Emily, the Democratic National Convention, like where they have their big powwow, is in Chicago. Okay, so they're going to have their big, like, we get together and talk, like, we're going to pick who's going to run for president. We're probably going to run Joe Biden, and we're going to do it in Chicago, the most crime-ridden city on earth, which is a Democratic stronghold and has been forever, to celebrate the victories of the Democrats after, like, Joe Biden's just thrown every, like, Democrat under the bus over and over and over again this administration, because they know he's going to win. They know, like, they don't even need to try. So this guy showed how, like, all this would happen, how it's happening. But it turns out that this guy likes to solicit dick pics from teenage boys and suck their dicks. So, Dad, if you're watching, this section might get rowdy, and I might be a little bit mad. Like, I might swear. I'm a little upset and offended about this. So we have the guy who is arguably trying to save the Republic. He's going to have the biggest protest on Inauguration Day in all of human history. He's going to change world events. He changed world events with that. His political analysis is as good as it gets, and he's a fucking pervert. Emily, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, I keep on looking to, like... Because I am convinced that the Democrats are lost right now, okay? Like, the Democratic Party is lost. It's just a corporatist party. And that there is some opposition from the right. But anytime I take a look at, like, the conservative, Republican, whatever movement, all I see is dudes sucking each other's dicks, talking about how great Christianity is, and how you're going to go to hell if you suck dick. The fuck am I supposed to do? What the fuck am I supposed to do? What the fuck? Oh, we're going to have House Majority Leader Dennis Hastert fuck 100 kids. Like the House Majority... Dennis Hastert, look him up, dude. And they knew it. Like, there's so many... I'm going to say pedophile is a strong word, because a pedophile is not exact. If you fuck a teenager, is it pedophilia, Emily? It's not the same when they're in puberty. It's different. It's wrong, but it's different. So, but nonetheless, a fucking pervert. Dennis Hastert was a child molester. I mean, he was going after like fucking children. But my point is that the Republicans, and specifically like Republican influencers on the internet, can't keep things out of their asses. All of them are compromised. Every single one of them. Every single fucking Republican influencer. And I don't understand how or why. Like, I get it. Like, so here's the sort of I get it, which is we had Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who is like, I don't know, running around on behest of the Mossad, compromising a bunch of Democrats, trying to get them to bang, like, you know, kids and then take pictures of it, or like teenage girls or whatever. Like Bill Gates, I don't care they had sex with a 16-year-old. Be proud, bro. Just show the pictures. Fuck. But no, they have to run from it. But apparently, the Israelis also have an operation going against the fucking Republicans too. What am I supposed to believe? So inside of this, how am I supposed to get information, Emily? Like, my question is how am I supposed to look at the situation where it's like, let's just say I'm watching the news and I'm watching the Democrats and I'm listening to their stuff and I'm like, this is just insane. Like, this is crazy. You know what I'm talking about? We've talked about it for years. Like, I sit there and I'm like, okay, so I just listened to Donald Trump and he didn't say I love white supremacists. He said he condemned them totally, but somehow everybody's like, oh, he loves white supremacists because they're idiots, and I see that. But then I'm like, oh, okay, so these guys have an explanation, and maybe I should listen to their explanation. Oh, there's explanation. Oh, but he's got 12-year-old dick on his lips. Like, dude, what Ali is accused of doing is absolutely disgusting, and it's basically pay to play. Like, except you pay with your dick pics. Like, he's basically like, hey, you want to be a mover in the conservative right? Christian nationalism, Emily. The guy was trying to start a Christian nationalist movement. Is he a Fed? Is like the whole reason that the guy who started January 6th not being in jail and had like closed door deposition, although he did release transcripts of it, but had is the reason that guy's out walking around scot-free, the guy who started the insurrection, caused the insurrection, insurrection, blah, blah. Oh, we better take out Trump because the insurrection, blah, 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 blah. Is the reason that guy's walking around is because Congress has already got the goods on him? Like, they're just going to be like, okay, populate, there's a marionette, and you're going to do what we tell you to do. And is it everybody in power is like are all of these people just compromised? Like all of them. And so what I'm looking at is like there's no Like, we might need to go build our own conservative movement. And you know what my conservative movement would be, Emily? Hear this out. Just hear this out. Just hear this out. Just hear this out. Because I'm using, like, the root of the word conservative as, like, you know, to conserve. Which is, like, my conservative movement is to, like, plant some fucking plants in your yard and eat the, like, produce that comes from your plants. And don't, like, take naked pictures of yourself with your phone and then share it with the internet. And don't take bong rips of yourself taking bong rips and put it on the internet. And don't make songs about how much you like abortion and how you wish you had had 100 of them and put it on the internet. Like, just don't be gross. Like, that's my whole move. Just don't be gross. Just don't be gross. Just don't be gross. Don't commit crime. Don't go out and, like, rob, like, steal from people. Don't shoot up fentanyl in a bus. Like, is this, like... I'm going to read your comment, Emily. I see politics like wrestling. Since being introduced to wrestling like 2 years ago, Cam and I have spent part of every day watching it in some way. I know too much now, I love it. Anyway, it's all politics in 2023. You watch these big dramatic storylines play out, you're consistently told to trust the process. In the press releases and continue watching, you become a fan of certain characters and see that they do no wrong, even when they do evil things. There's lots of macho men speaking out their asses and glittery jumpsuits. It's the same thing, and because I'm completely muted from the reality of the government because trust the process is some bull poop. That's pretty good. That's actually a really good explanation. That's awesome. I'm glad thank you. That freed me. I can go back to treating it like pro wrestling. Because I don't know what matters beyond, like, what you can affect locally. Like we've been saying this whole time, all politics is local, blah, 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 blah. But beyond that, I just don't know. And also, like, again, I live in a really liberal place. It's not that bad. Like, let's get real for a second. There's no place where you're not going to have serious problems with crime and fentanyl. Like, that's everywhere. Everywhere now. Everywhere has robbery, shoplifting, fentanyl. Like, it's the whole damn planet. Well, it's the whole damn United States. But I'm going to just say it's everywhere has problems now. And we're just in a situation where everywhere has problems. And thanks. But actually, Emily, I want to, like, talk a little bit more about this. Like, I feel some betrayal here. Like, I actually feel betrayed by the guy because I was like, you know, I'm getting so much shit for, like, backing this guy because of, like, him being right about things that I ignored so much. Like, I ignored all these warning signs because I was like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. Here's actually what I'm getting at. It's all wrestling. You're not supposed to favor anyone, really. You're just here for the show. That's not wrong. I don't know if that's wrong. Because I'll be honest, like, if Donald Trump was president, there would be a lot of better things. There might be some worse things too, but I would say that there'd be a lot of better things. Actually, I don't know about that because then the riots never would have stopped and we'd be in much worse shape because of that. I don't know. There's a point that I was making, though. There was that. There's that. There's the people. There's the influencers. There's blah, 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 blah. There's... I don't know. It might come back to me. It was an important point. It actually, it's one of the things that does matter about all of this stuff. And I'm influenced. I'm disgusted and frustrated. I'm disgusted with the grift. Okay. But let's move on. I'm going to move on to other things. Because I have other shouts. There's a guy who was prosecuted for a meme. Let me do jailed for meme. This is not what I was looking for, but I actually do have this on the list, and since it popped up, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it right now. Because, well, like, so the resistance mechanism to what's going on is largely corrupt, and I wonder if it's part of the soup. Like, an example would be, we have... We'll just say the people in Steve Bannon's sphere. So Steve Bannon being like one of the leaders of the populist New Right movement. He helped kick it off and got going. That I wonder if like everybody in his circle is going to end up being co-opted and they'll be like the neoliberals 20 years from now. So it's basically like they're going to be made a new ruling class. But they still get their marching orders from the same people, and it's the banks. Like, I seriously wonder if that's what's happening. Because that's what it looks like to me. But because, like, any sort of resistance to this, it keeps on getting co-opted. Like, it's the damnedest thing. I don't know how it happens. But this is something that I wanted to talk about, because this is, like, it's scary stuff, Emily, but it's also, like, you and I are so not... We don't need to worry about it. But we are living in McCarthyism 2.0. So I do need to talk about Ray Ray's Jim Crow 2.0. But we have McCarthyism 2.0. And you probably... Actually, this is a good question, Emily. Do you know what McCarthyism is? And please, actually, if you could spell that out. It's a good question. So in the meantime, I'm going to look at my phone and just talk and wait. Am I free for an hour? Maybe for you. You know, 1 hour, doing anything, it's called blah blah blah. If I reply, if I record blah 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 da da. Yeah, but do you know what it is? And I will explain it for the viewers. Thank you for saying that. But the reason I asked if you know what that is because it makes me wonder if it's something that showed up in your education. Which I imagine it's talked about. Like, I would imagine that McCarthyism is something that, like, the schools really beat on. Even though they don't talk about so much other stuff. Well, McCarthyism was basically... member of Congress, McCarthy, might have been a House. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up, because if we're going to be honest, I'm not going to get all the details right. So I'm going to go to McCarthyism. Second Red Scare. It was a Douglas McCarthy? Joseph McCarthy, Senator. There we go. So Joseph McCarthy was a senator, and he thought that there was a bunch of communists who had, super briefly, but it was covered honestly, blah, blah, blah. So basically, it was the Red Scare. He said that the communists had infiltrated Hollywood and the government, and they were trying to turn the United States into a communist nation. And so he had a list of people that he was going after as possible, communists working with the Soviet Union, and he had hearings looking into things, and Hollywood was scared, and it was a big, kind of a witch hunt on behalf of the government. Now, one of the ironies of ironies of ironies is that he was kind of right about stuff. There was actually a whole bunch of commies everywhere. They had actually they had infiltrated Hollywood and the government. Look at where we're at today. You wonder where all this communism crap came from? That was part of it. But he went around about it in such a heavy-handed manner that it became a rallying cry for the left to cry, McCarthyism, McCarthyism, McCarthyism. You're trying to do is McCarthyism. This is a witch hunt. You're coming after us because of McCarthyism. So if somebody wants to say, Jacob, that was a terrible explanation, please. But I'm really just trying to get the shortest point. That's the point is it's a political witch hunt. McCarthyism equals a political witch hunt. And of ironies, it's about Russia. So let's see what the Justice Department has to say. 3 days ago. U.S. citizens and Russian intelligence officers charged with conspiring to use U.S. citizens as legal agents of the Russian government. Defendants sought to sow discord, spread pro-Russia propaganda, and interfere in elections within the United States. What is that one? DeSantis spokesman blatantly registers as agent of foreign politician. Christina Pushaw disclosures works for Michael Scavala. I can't even look at that. Because it's too many words I don't know. So this is Glenn Greenwald, favorite journalist. If you need as a context, like if you're looking for a journalist to trust, I would put him on your list of people that I would listen to. So Glenn Greenwald, this is absolutely remarkable and chilling, and this is an absolutely remarkable and chilling indictment. Several American black leftist groups and activists are being charged with felonies for posting memes and other political content against the war in Ukraine, protesting racial injustice, allegedly on behalf of Russia. Here's one of the leaders of one of the groups who is now indicted, Omali Yeshitla, speaking at a Peace in Ukraine rally last month. Criminalizing speech is increasingly common by claiming the speech serves Russian interests.
Justice, peace, and reparations. On July 29th, at 5 o'clock in the morning, pre-dawn, an army of assault weapons toting, camouflage wearing military forces identifying themselves as the FBI.
Uh-oh. Black man just called out the FBI. Better call the FBI. So here's the Instagram page of one of the groups claimed to be criminally doing Russia's bidding. Its content is exactly what you'd expect from them. American black leftist socialists, including attacks on Biden for the war, anti-DNC stuff, and BLM cases. Let's check out what that one has, Emily. We'll check out this link to the Instagram. Hopefully it's Black Hammer. What were you reading? Black Hammer. This looks like... resigns over, blah, 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 blah. This seems, well, his uncle to release her music for stealing against family wishes. Breaking New Orleans has KKK COVID death rates among states. Critical mass. This is definitely, okay, there's Hugo Chavez. So how would I describe what I am seeing here? This is definitely, we'll just call it anti-America propaganda. Or sort of like American revisionist propaganda. But there's also like, I don't know, it's interesting. Like, you know, there's Michael Brown. There's Malcolm X. Cuomo's a bad guy. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, this is like black socialist propaganda. There you go. You have the hammer in the hand and Black Hammer and all that stuff. Anyways, Instagram page, blah, 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 blah. Let me go back to what Glenn Greenwald's saying. Even more chilling is how media outlets cover these DOJ indictments, mindlessly treating them as proven facts. Anchor Jim, this shows how active Russia is in our democracy. Reporter, indeed, chilling. Proceeds to read from indictment without an ounce of skepticism. There's absolutely a campaign long underway to criminalize dissent in the U.S. As long as you stay within the mainstream limits, what Obama called within the 40-yard lines, you're fine. What's criminalized are anti-establishment voices, right or left. All of this is independent of the fact that the U.S. not only does exactly what these indictments claim Russia and China do, but far more extreme. The U.S. funds dissident groups in many nations, create fakes, internets to destabilize, etc. You think reporters would mention this? We'll be recovering these indictments. There were 2 yesterday, another involving claims about China on tonight's system update. For here, you go, blah, 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 blah. Caitlin Johnson, John Stone has been writing about this stuff for a while. But if these two are screaming about it, what this means is that if you come out with anti-regime stuff, and so here's the thing is like They love to say that the commies are taking over. It's the commies and the socialists are. Here's some commies and socialists getting the axe, okay? Like, the commies and socialists are going to get the whack, along with MAGA, which is also going to get the whack. So if you're like far left populism or far right populism, this McCarthyism is for you. And it's not like, it's going to be the leaders. So an example would be like, let's just say Emily, Dad, you, like all of us. We went to some rally and we went to go see this guy, Omali Lashitla. Anyways, we go see him and we got our fists in the air. We're like, yeah! You know, there's not going to be any indictments against us. Like, we might get on like an FBI list and somebody might knock on our door someday and be like, hey, were you there? And we're like, yeah, FBI, get off my property. And they're going to be like, so are you? And we'll be like, yeah. And then the FBI is going to be like, okay, it's an idiot. And then they're just going to... And then they're going to try to get us to shoot up a school. Oh, it sounds like the ladies are home. It's Cordy. Hi, Cordy. Hi, Cordy. Hi. You got a rock? That's so cool. You're going to go upstairs? She's screaming at me from my window. And she's swinging a rock around it. Hi! That's a cool rock. Oh well. So, McCarthyism, I like my kid. So... that actually ties into part of the solution I found to all of this, Emily, is family. Like, instead of being upset about... So, here's one of the things that upset me about Ali. Here's another one. Ali had some streams that were absolute fire. Okay? I'm talking, like... You know where I talk about the Hegelian dialectic and how it's used to control people? That's him. That was his stuff. And just some other stuff that was just like super, like just, it was awesome. But, you know, I'm not going to watch it now. Actually, I doubt he's going to do anything now. He's completely just gone dark. But it's my kid. So like gardening kid. So instead of waking up and, here's a good one. This is from Anthony Huberman, who I'm going to dig into his stuff a lot more. His thing is about like regulating dopamine and cortisol and all that stuff. So an example would be when you wake up in the morning, his recommendation is to get sunlight on your face immediately. Like, go outside, get the sun on your face. If you have a sun lamp, that'll work, but it's not as good as just straight up sunlight. Do that and then get 15 minutes of exercise. Kid's going crazy. We're gonna have to go to bed soon. And then wait for it. Get some sunlight on your face. Then get 15 minutes of activity. So it could be like walking, jogging, jumping jacks. Just get your body moving. And then accomplish some sort of goal. And if it can be part of a bigger goal, that's great. Like, you know, it's like, I'm going to go ahead and make my bed. And the reason I'm going to make my bed is because I'm going to do a photo shoot in my room today. Or something like that. Or it's like, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to take care of this one thing. I don't remember what it was yesterday, but it was like, I was going to make sure that I sprayed all of my plants before Cordy woke up. And what it's about is it's about creating like this, like it's about triggering that goal setting, like wanting to tick things off the list part of your brain. Sunlight in the face, a little bit of exercise, accomplishing one small goal will give you momentum to just keep doing crap throughout the day. And it makes you happier. So what I am doing is creating a system where our lives are hardened, so we'll have some food security by making the ability to produce a lot of our own food in the house. Now, like, I don't think, like, let's just say, like, a calamity hits, like, we're not going to be able to produce enough food for that, but, like, we could produce enough food to sustain ourselves. Like, we would survive. It would suck. We'd come out emaciated, but I guarantee you that I could come up with a way of feeding my family in the middle of the internet, as long as we had electricity. But like, let's just say there's a food support, like there's a serious pandemic, like a real one. And it's just like, okay, everybody's got to stay in their houses for 2 years. We could make enough food for 2 years. We could make it. Like, it would suck, but we could do it. That's my point. So it's like that kind of hardening, but it's also like it's investing in my environment. So my environment's like one that's like, oh, I put all this work into it, and it's such a nice place. Kind of like how you decorate your apartment now. It's like having a nice place. We haven't like fully moved into our place yet, and we've been here 7 years. So there's that, and then there's focusing on the kid and like doing these long-term things. Like what's one that I'm doing? I just play Kick Daddy's Hands. It's this one game, so sometimes she's like, she wants to burn out a bunch of energy right before she goes to bed or something like that. I'm like, okay, go ahead and kick my hands. Bam, 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 bam. And she can kick pretty hard, okay? My almost 3-year-old will sit there on her back and just like bang, 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 kick her feet at my hands for like a straight 3 minutes, okay? Try doing that for 3 minutes, Emily. See if you don't feel like dying afterwards. Like her quads are massive. And she hits pretty hard. But her ab strength is crazy. And it'll keep getting stronger. So, I mean, it's like, if we just keep doing this for like 15, like, let's just say for 2 years, dude, she'll be a killer. Like, anybody tries picking her off the ground and she doesn't want her, she'll be able to clock them in the jaw and knock them out. Which is pretty cool. So, like, I invest in my kid. I invest in my plants, pretty cool. I invest in the dogs, not as cool. But and then also like cleaning the house, like washing walls, like I don't know, just nesting, getting ready for a kid. I covered the Russian foreign agent thing. I wanted to cover. There's a guy who made a meme that said like you can text your vote to Hillary Clinton to vote for Hillary Clinton before the election. That guy got 10 years for making a meme. And all this is about stopping Donald Trump. They're going to do anything. So, like, I don't know. The point is don't, like, just stay the hell away from this witch hunt. Like, Donald Trump might, like, Donald Trump's, he's got that X factor. Like, he might be able to win. But I don't think anybody can beat, like, how much the Democrats have rigged the game. Like, I don't think they're beatable in this coming election. So it's better to, like, as the people say, keep your powder dry. Like, today is not the day to have a fight, okay? Like, the generals are off busy, like, trying to blow 13-year-old boys. The leadership is all drunk. Everybody's compromised, gross, and old. Just sit this one out. I don't know about sitting it out, but like find other things to do in your life to like harden your personal environment. And also, like I was saying with, take Cam and go out with some friends. Okay, just like, and like local neighbors. Be like, do you have neighbors in your area that you like? Have dinner with them one night when like the kid isn't there, and be like, hey neighbors, let's get dinner together. And then like create a community, like a local, small, tight knit community. That'll give you a sense of being, and like it'll give you a purpose, it'll give you a meaning for life, as well as it'll insulate you from some of the shocks. Like if I were to work, like let's just say everything went to hell, like there's like a super virus that came out, I'd be able to talk to my neighbors, and I'm just talking like boom, boom, boom. Actually, like let's just say 3 neighbors, but it's actually like way more neighbors. I could let's just say my mycelium thing takes off. I could go up to every single one of them and be like, okay, everybody, we need planter boxes. Put one of these things in your planter box that you already have existing. And what we're going to do is we're just going to get next year's crop already going, and we'll start building it in the middle of winter. And then by the time June rolls around next year, my neighborhood would be producing just an astonishing amount of food for as small of a foot stamp as we have. There's one part that I didn't finish with that is I think it's just going to be necessary for us to like lay off of centralized agriculture. I think we need to give the earth time to recharge, or whatever you want to call it. Let me see. We see our neighbors every other week. Wade's best friend lives across the street. That's awesome. Hang out with your community. Get your bae to hang out with the community. And Brian Clark's bouncing in. Missed most. Oh, too bad. Too bad, Brian. You'll have to come back and watch it. I don't know. Was this show worth watching, Emily? Actually, you should listen to the top of it and listen to my gardening stuff. Like, I think you would really dig what I'm working on, Brian. I got my mycelia weirdness going. I got some, like, leaf slime mold going. I've got like 100 sprouts and little sprouters going. I even have some on the windowsill. I'm going to be growing in cloth bags. I'm going to have raised beds. I'm going to be like, digging into the lawn. I'm actually going to put pots directly into my lawn. Because here's this idea. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you one more idea. So, like, one of the things I want to do is get cantaloupe. And so I want to start off my cantaloupe in a pot. Like, you're not supposed to do cantaloupe starts, okay? But this won't hurt the root system, okay? So what I do is I get, like, the gallon pot and then start the cantaloupe in there. And then what I'm going to do is, like, give that, like, that's going to have some good soil in it. Good, like, soiling soil, but also, like, composty soil. And then what I'm going to do is just go into the grass and dig it out and dig it out and dig it out and dig it out, because my backyard's clay. Okay, so dig it out deep, and then like grass and sticks and some worms and some mycelia and some dirt and some more organic material. Okay, fill that in, and then cut the bottom third off of this pot and then stick it directly into the yard. And then have like that much of the lip sticking up. That way it's like a grass barrier, like the grass won't go in there. But the other one is like just encouraging the roots to shoot straight down. Okay. And then once it's all said and done at the end of the year, take that SOB, cap it, put the cantaloupe plant in the compost or some sort of pile to break down. It depends on if it gets like powdery mildew. It probably, like, I almost assume that it will. But anyway, my freaking nose. Anyways, but then cut it and then plug it with grass. Just put grass on top of it, boom, and then rotate where the garden is. And so, like, next year, dig out a different hole, do the same thing. And what I'm trying to do is just get these large root structures to start going down into my yard to penetrate like 3 feet into the clay, if I can do that. And then just try to recharge the soil. And I think that would work. I think we could bring this. I think we could bring this plot back, but really developing like a sort of suburban organic mega farming, backyard mega farming. Like, I really think people could produce a lot of food in their backyards, depending. And so I'm coming up with a proof of concept for it. Anyways, we had one other thing that I was wrong. Oh, I talked about some things I was wrong about. No one's going to talk about the shooting, but like, which shooting are we even talking about at this point? There's going to be more of them. Like, if you want to know what the future looks like, guys, it's going to be a mixture of 70s crime in New York, but it's kind of everywhere, mixed with the school shootings. And a lot of theft and robbery. Decentralized, like, you can't get away from it. The fact that the Pelosi's, like, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, like, mega millionaire in Congress, somebody broke into her house, like, forget it. Like, if they're vulnerable, everybody's vulnerable. Oh, Brian, I found out where everybody is, by the way. I found out where they're hiding. They're all in Montana. So all the rich people that are doing all the terrible things, they're in Montana in these giant compounds that you can't get to, because they also have private armies, and they're around all the nuclear weapons. Like, apparently you can just go into like some small town, like, shoot off some small town and go into the caverns, and then all of a sudden you just see like rows of $100 million houses. And then let me see. Brian Clark also says, throw an education into the small suburban. Absolutely. Like, I've been thinking about what I would want my model for my daughter to be. And I've even talked to Emily about this one, which is I would like to have her go to school 3 days a week, and then her with her parents 2 days a week, and have that always be the case. And that way, mommy and daddy are always teaching her something or involved in her education, or she's learning some things that aren't there. Like, maybe she's learning 3-gun. I'm not saying that that's what I want to do every Friday. I mean, Jesus, that's an expensive hobby. But like, or just swimming or hiking, or maybe she's like building some electronic Arduino thing, or we're already working on particle physics or something in my garage, and just having some sort of project where like I'm teaching my kids a skill. They get to see some of my work day, as well as I get to talk to them about like morality and all these other things. And so I'm not left with, like the the school unions and Cardi B raising my daughters. What does Emily say? She says, start kids on carpentry young and they'll be set for life. That's set in stone. Like, that's a good one. Yeah, we're already doing projects. Well, so she planted the garden. She helped plant the garden. Like, I have her like sticking her finger in and then putting seeds in and then covering it up. And then every morning when she wakes up, she gets to see the starts going and see how big they get. And then she helps her with transplanting them into like the soil. And then we put some other stuff. Then we go take the watering bucket to it. I'll get Union and Cardi B. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Brian. That's like the default. Carpentry. Yeah, we'll get there. I honestly wouldn't want, like, I thought about that and it's cool, but like, you know, Jessica's idea is like, we should get Cordelia out of here if we want to build the raised beds. And I'm like, you know, you might be onto something. Because I don't think she's really going to help. I don't think she's at quite the point where she can help that much. And music. We're going to give her music lessons. So Cordelia already has like music lessons on Thursday. And when those are done, I'm going to learn to play guitar. Like, I have an acoustic guitar that I haven't really dug into. I've just fiddled with it a little bit. But basically learn some songs from Moana or like Encanto or any sort of Disney movie that she's into. And then she can get like her castanets or like maracas or something like that. Or just some sticks to keep time. Well, I learn guitar and then we both sing Disney songs. And then I put her on YouTube, exploit her, and make as much money as I can and alienate my daughter. Like Britney Spears, the end. That's all I got, guys. I'm going to go. I'm going to go help wifey get the kid to sleep. I'm going to get something to eat. And I'm going to go from there. I basically covered everything I wanted to. Sorry I wasn't like the show to end all shows, but I am sad. I haven't slept in a while. That's where small community comes in. Carpenter, plumber, musicians, garden, etc. All swapping and learning. That's part of it. Like, I was trying to think, Brian is like... I've been thinking about this AI stuff. I could talk more about the AI stuff, but I'm just not interested. Like, for freak's sake, some of the training models that they're using to build ChatGPT, like, we're talking top 10 sources. I want to say it's really like top 12 sources. New York Times and Washington Post are in there. Like, I want to say something like half of what it gets is from news outlets. So it's going to be biased as hell and stupid. Like, anyways, but I do see some problems, but it doesn't matter. So small community comes in. Carpenter, plumber, musicians, etc. All swapping and learning. Yeah, it's actually the kind of thing that we could get going. Like, I was talking to my neighbor, and you would dig him. But he's like, you know, what are we doing with all this grass? And like, why are we throwing this stuff? He's like, you see that tree over there? That's aspirin. Like, what? Yeah, you just cut some of the branches off, you pull the bark off, and then just boil it for a while, and boom, it's aspirin. It gets rid of your headache. It actually has a bunch of other things that they don't have in aspirin, and it's also like a natural source of it, and it's going to be able to work better and blah, 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 blah. So we just started talking like plant medicine. And then that's when I started getting into mushrooms. Like, I might do a log of reishi mushrooms. And I might actually, like, depending on if it looks like things are going to get real bad, I'll do medicinal herbs in our house. Herbs. And that kind of stuff. I'm actually, like, I'll leave it at that. Like, I am considering doing, like, medicinal crops at the house. Because I'm discovering how to just build, like... If this theory works, Brian, and we'll just just to explain what the theory is to Brian in case he missed it, because you missed the top of the show. Are you still there? Still there? Sorry, the thing said that it went away. I'm going to repeat myself, Emily and Dad, so if you want to sign out, you can. But, so, Brian, picture this. I've got, like, a 5-gallon bucket or 7-gallon bucket, and then filling it with sticks and leaves and some eggshells, bone meal, grass, and some other just stuff and compost. And then also putting mycelia in there. So I have a big mycelia colony, getting mycelia in there. And then what I do is I put the plant in the bucket or in the pot, And then what happens is like it shoots out its taproot, because a lot of what I have taproots, and it's getting its nutrients from like the soil that it needs, and awesome. While that's happening, the mycelia network's building, and as the mycelia network builds, it interacts with the roots, and it lets the roots know what nutrients, like where all the nutrients are. So as the plant is just going through its natural plant phase, the roots will be able to be like, oh, I need nitrogen, let's go over there. And then the mycelia is going to help break down the nitrogen faster so it can make the plant happy, so the plant gets bigger, and then it creates more chlorophyll for the mycelia to exchange. Okay, because the mycelia has a relationship to make sure the plant does as good as humanly possible. And so then once it gets to like the blooming or the flower phase, boom, it's just like, okay, we're going to go after these nutrients. And so the roots will start growing in that direction. And then the mycelia will help break it down and send it back to the plant. And I expect, like, we'll see if it works. Like, I think this will work. And also put some red wigglers in there. I expect these plants to just go crazy. So that's really what I'm working on, Brian, is to figure out how to get like a garden to just go nuts. Like I want us to produce too much food. I want us, like, for our first year to produce way more food than we could possibly even imagine to eat, to show it as a proof of concept. Because I think that, like, I really do think that we could have sustainable backyard organic gardening in the United States on a scale to where everybody is just producing some food, and like our basically our big agriculture is 90% exports, and some of it feed, I guess, but like that right there is why I said to never do full till on garden soil. That is why I have 30 tomato plants. Yeah, I got that. Like, I want to, like, I'm curious as to, like, how you layered it. So I'm also going to put some manure in my pots, as well as, God, what was the last thing? Like, freaking earthworm casings, Brian. I'm getting real weird over here. And that's exactly why you don't till the soil. Tilling the soil breaks up the mycelia. It breaks up, like, it kills the worms. It kills the bugs. Yeah, it's not, like, what you're supposed to do. There's other ways of getting there, but really, like, like us not touching our garden for the last 2 years is the best thing that we could have done for it. So, like, it's like the soil is so good. Like, I was like, there's this one spot where I'm digging it out where I'm going to put all the mushrooms, because we have a bunch of knotweed coming in. But I had piled up a bunch of crap over there to like get rid of it, and we hauled it off to the dump, and like but that was like from the cherry trees. Now I wish I had saved it all, but that was from the cherry trees, and just want to get out of the yard. But I had piled all this stuff out there, and so I'm like, okay, well, I need to clean up this space, and it was just this giant pile of organic material that I made in like August of last year. It was all just compost. Like I went to like lift something up, and it's just like, oh, this is all just compost and dirt. Like it just turned into like the most fertile soil in the universe. So I put it all in a bucket with some mycelia and like eggshells and leaves, and I'm just going to leave it there. And that's where I'm going to plant some of the more like precious baby plants. I've got these purple tomatoes. Man, I got to get my garden going. Just kidding. I got so many seeds. We're gonna do like chard and all this other crap. I got too much, Brian, if we're being honest here. But we'll see how that goes. There's the butternut squash. Oh, I got some cilantro. Man, I'm gonna start some cilantro next. Jesus. The store didn't have any cilantro, man. Did you get that? Do you guys get how food insecure we are? The store was out of cilantro. So let's just say the pandemic happens again, and you can get everything but cilantro. I got it in my garden. Come call me. It's going to be $100 a pound. I'm joking, but I'm not joking at the same time. I'm like, let's see. Anyways, let's see. There's all of our peppers. Man, look at all these hot peppers, Brian. I should start calling them Brian's. Look at all those hot peppers. Ignore the green ones, because those look like me and space. I lost it. Here, I'm going to see if I can Google it real quick. And then I really am going to go, dude. We're going to go here, and we're going to go to purple heirloom tomato. Cherokee purples. So we're going to do Cherokee Purple. So yeah, I got a bunch of these going. Cause man, I love an heirloom tomato, right? Aren't heirloom tomatoes just the freaking best? Anyways, so what I've already got those starts going. There was something I was going to say about the tomatoes. It doesn't matter. I've got them in their little pots. They're going nuts. My plan is to actually, I'll go ahead and tell you what my plan is. I want like a tomato the size of a grapefruit that tastes delicious. Like I don't want it to just be big. I want it to be scrumptious. So let me say probably blah 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 blah. Haha, probably know this too. Overwinter grass, rye peas, peppers. Here going in this weekend. That is a pretty tomato for me. The next 2 to 5 year plan is some seed saving. Yeah, I got that. I have some sort of similar interest. Let me cover those real quick here. Peppers, I've started weeks ago. I'm doing them inside because we do have a late frost. Like our planting season isn't till the middle of next month. So I've just got like, I'm going ham on starts, dude. It's crazy. It's preposterous. It's obsessive, if we're being honest. It's obsessive compulsive, but that's fine. So pepper. So we already have. I do have those. That is a pretty tomato. Next 2 to 5 year plan is seed saving. I saved some to just like start experimenting with seed saving. Like I saved some bell pepper seeds, and I want to see how those do. Because my understanding is seeds only last like they're best used next year. So I'm looking at ways to do some long-term seed saving. We'll just see. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see what direction. Like we'll just see what direction things go. Like there's a possibility that I would do something, and this is if it gets really weird and I just get obsessed with this stuff. Well, I have a kid coming, so we'll also see if that goes. But like just having something set up in my house where I have like starts going all the time. And just start cloning plants. So as opposed to just like having seeds, which is it's like I want to have the seed genetics going. But if I have like a really good like successful something plant, I'd actually like to just keep that genetics going. And so if I could have like a little chest in my in my office going with like small pots with my favorite plants. And just like, oh, it's going to be time to, get ready for the next year. Cut some leaves off of it, put it in starters. And then there's my clones. That's why I put seed saving in 2 to 5 years so I can learn and fail. Yeah, because I don't know. We'll share our info, but I'm going to take detailed notes on this stuff. I'll let you know how my garden turns out. Let me know how your garden turns out. And also if you would let me know, like literally like how you layer stuff. Like I'm taking photos of all of this. Like I haven't assembled it yet because I want to really see if like the mycelia colony takes off. I got a heating map for it because it's like, I think my mycelia needs to be a little warmer. It's probably too cold in my office. I want to get it up to like a balmy like 75 degrees. I bet mycelia loves it. And then I'll do that. Anyways, I'm going to go, dude. I hope you have a great day. Please take care of yourself. Emily, please take care of yourself if you're still there. Everybody, please take care of yourselves. I love you guys. Have a great day. Go ahead and make it an amazing day. Let me see. Brent says, many of the hardcore biologists will say the seed preserves of the previous year and location, so it's better than getting from mass wherever the seed or plant is brought from. I agree. I will get into more local agriculture. Dude, my mycelia came from my yard. Like literally my mycelia, like, because I was looking at the internet for like starts, or maybe I could use it for mushrooms or whatever. This is as local as agriculture as you could get. I can't get a more native source than this, which is awesome. It's because I think it'll just work with the like general biology of my yard, or the ecosystem, the ecology of my yard. All right, I'm gonna go, guys. I hope you have a great day. I gotta go to the bathroom, help take care of kid. Angels on your pillow. Have a great weekend. Be powerful. Grow those herbs. Yeah, I'm just